You would think anybody who's driven a car or owned a car would realize that you've got to do preventative maintenance on that car, right? If you don't change the oil, guess what? At some point, that's going to catch up with you, right? If you're not rotating the tires, if you're not having your brakes checked, if you're not doing those things to maintain it, it's not going to work at its peak performance. Well, robots are no different, but there seems to be a different mindset about robots for some reason that people don't think about the maintenance side. So a big part of our job has been educating the market that you do need to think about maintenance. Most people realize at some point something's going to happen and it's going to need to be repaired at some point. What they don't think about is the preventative maintenance side. And that's really critical, maintaining the uptime, especially in these business critical applications where they've created their staffing model around the automation working, right? You don't have as many workers in the warehouse because you have more automation, which is great from an ROI standpoint, but the automation needs to be working for that ROI to
Mm.
continue. And so it's really critical to keep those robots maintained because these environments do change, right? They're
Mm.
dynamic environments, right? Warehouses change based on who their customers are. And if the robots aren't being adapted to the environment, human nature is we're going to get the job done manually, and they don't always pick up the phone to call the OEM and say, hey, we need to have the robots reconfigured, or this isn't working for us anymore. And that's where we come in by doing those regular on-site visits. We're not only making sure the robot's working electromechanically like it's supposed to, but also that it's actually doing the job they need it to do in the way that they need it to do. And we're adapting those robots to that ever changing environment, whether that's a warehouse or a restaurant or a hotel, whatever it is,
Mm.
making sure that the robots are being adapted to that dynamic environment. A great example of that, this is in the restaurant space, but I think it still applies. We took over a fleet of robots that didn't have PM on them previously. And we showed up at a location. This one happened to be like a high-end movie theater restaurant combination kind of thing. And one of the robots is in the lobby with a sign hung on it that says on strike. So they'd never called the manufacturer to say there was a problem. They just
Mm.
stopped using it. It was a simple firmware issue, nothing really electromechanically wrong with the robot. So it took our technician no time to get it back up and running. But that's just a great example of how human nature will take back over. They'll go back to doing the way they've always done it if the robot isn't being adapted to the environment and being maintained. And so that's really why we focus so heavily in that space.